Hello and welcome back to Friday Minis. Today, let's talk about the floor and the ceiling. No, not the literal floor and ceiling, but those functions you use in programming languages. I think nearly every programming language lets you do this, right? Floor rounds a number down, ceiling rounds a number up. Now, you might be thinking that, hey, that's pretty trivial to do, right? I mean, we could just roll our own function, take whatever floating point number, cast it to an integer, and then something. Well, turns out it's not really as simple as you think. Today, let's take a closer look at what these functions actually do and, try and appreciate a little bit of the edge cases that you need to think of. To keep things simple, let's start with floor. Now, the floor is down, so floor is essentially a round down function. You give it a decimal number and it rounds it down. So that's pretty trivial, right? If you get 0.5, you cast it to an integer. When you turn it into an integer, the decimal portion is lost. There you go, that's a round down, right? Aren't we done? Well, not quite. Here's the thing. We've only looked at positive numbers. If you take negative 2.5 and you try and cast it to an integer, you get negative 2, which is a larger number. So you don't want to do that. If you're rounding down, you want a smaller number. So if you were trying to do a floor function on negative 2.5, you would expect to get negative 3. Well, okay, let's throw an if statement into the mix then. We'll say if it's a negative number, then cast it to an integer and then add 1 to it. Alright, that works. Well, negative 2.5 will become negative 3. But what if I gave you negative 2? Now, negative 2 when cast to an integer is still negative 2, but you don't want to add 1 to that. So we need another condition check, and hopefully it is at this point that you can see it's not all that trivial. If it is a whole number, we don't have to do anything. If our input is already a whole number, we'll simply spit it back out, right? And then we're done. So if you were to roll your own floor function, you would have to do something like this. You'll have to check several conditions, right? There are 3 cases total that you need to take note of. The first being whether it's an integer, and if it isn't, then whether it is positive or negative. The converse is true for a ceiling function. Once again, if it's an integer, we simply return the exact same thing. Otherwise, if it is a decimal number, positive numbers will be truncated and then have 1 added to it, whereas negative numbers are simply truncated. So yeah, it's not actually as simple as it looks. So there you go. That's an example to show you that something as simple as floor or ceiling is actually not all that simple to implement, right? Once you start to think about the edge cases. I mean, these aren't even edge cases, right? You just have to, sort of be aware of all the possible inputs that could come in. Anyway, yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, you're watching 0612 TV with NERDfirst.net. Thank you very much for watching. If you like my work and are feeling generous, you can shoot me a one-time donation on PayPal or sign up for a recurring one on Patreon. Of course, you can simply like, comment, and subscribe. You know the deal. For more videos, links to my channel and a related playlist are on screen. Thank you for your support.